Hi, well, here we are. Hope, good to see you. So
Yay.
this is Nothing on Air, and our guest today is Hope Johnson. This has been a couple months in the making since before the new year, so I'm really, really excited to speak with you today. What I'll do is
I'm
I'm
excited
going to read. Oh,
too.
sorry. Yeah. So I'll read your I'll read your bio here. A Hope has a rooster in the background who wants to be on camera as well, so he may make some appearances, but we'll work through it, no problem. So Hope approaches life from the viewpoint that life is a dreamlike fantasy brought on by a thought of separation that we took seriously, and that the dream life is meaningless, except that we can use it to undo the insane thought that props it up as if it's reality. Hope has one goal for dreaming: to demonstrate our shared mind that only love is real and that no separation ever happened. She has spoken for many years at retreats, online meetings, and to groups near her home on Hawaii Island. Many of Hope's online meetings have been recorded and are available for free. Hope is also happy to speak one-on-one or in small groups with those who are sincerely seeking the guidance that comes through her. She's an author, yogi, and founder of a fantastic essential oil online boutique called Miracle Botanicals. She's a wife and mother to 3 children, 2 of whom are adults. She also enjoys playing harp, dancing, laughing with fairies, and being naked in the sun. Hope, welcome.
Hey, that's fun. Who wrote that thing?
I don't know. That's what we're trying to figure out. Who wrote anything?
Yeah. Right. Oh my goodness. Yes. Aloha, everyone. I'm so grateful to be here with you. Yay. So yes, life is a dream. It is just a fantasy. It's a twisted fantasy. Notice that there in life, there's always these things that arise like tiredness, sickness, got to go to the bathroom, eventually probably death, possibly. That's what we see everywhere. Yeah. So it's like once you're aware that this is just a dark fantasy of a mind steeped in separation, how do you approach it? That's the question. It's like, okay, well, what do I do with that now? That's the question that arises all the time. First, it's a matter of, okay, this is a dream. All right, what? But first there's resistance to even recognizing that it's a dream, and then there's resistance to recognizing that it's a dream in these certain situations. One such situation is as a parent, and most of what I worked through had to do with parenting, because I was trained, just like most people are, that we are responsible as parents for our children's lives. You know how much pressure that is? I mean, we for most of us, we don't feel like we're really capable of being responsible for our own lives. And really, the thing is, we're not capable of being responsible for our own lives. And when we try to do that as an ego, because that's how we act, and we act like we're responsible as an individual for our lives, we mess it up. We end up in conflict. We end up feeling upset and sick. That's another thing. Sickness is also an effect of the mind. So it's like with the approach, when it comes to something where like a kid is going, hey, mom, I want to go out and do some cocaine. Let's make that one. Okay. Mom, I want to go out and do some cocaine. Watch what happens in the body's energy field. Nothing's happening. The kid isn't saying anything. They're not saying anything real. Okay. But watch what happens in the body's energy field. What occurs for people is that they'll run in thought instead of watching what happens in the body's energy field. When we run in thought, we make the world real. We make our ego important, and we make the world real. This resistance, this addiction to thinking things out is what keeps us in a state of separation. Keeps us perceiving this world where we're mortal people and we die at the end of a life. Okay, that's like a death sentence that we've given ourselves. So I know it feels really scary, and you can take something smaller than that. I know cocaine is pretty deep. I got that one myself, which is really fun, because I just said, oh, okay, okay, that's because thank you and gratitude. Thank you for telling me that, because now I can experience what's going on right here. But it could be anything. Some parents think that certain food is bad for their kids. I will not let my eat whatever they say. And the kids, am I having connection? It says I am anyways. I need you to eat healthy. Watch what that is coming from. It's acting as if this ego has authority over another person. And what I find out is that people are concerned that things are going to go really wrong, like their kids are going to just be messed up if they just allow whatever their kids report to them or whatever they say to them to be a blessing. Okay? It's not the case. At least from what I can see, I really went and experimented with it, because I said, wow, if this is for real, if love is real, like I'm learning that love is real, then it should work in every single situation. So I started to apply it to every situation. Anything where it seemed like there was a reaction within me, I would just take that in and go, okay, that reaction, that's what I need to learn from. The reaction is demonstrating that I'm thinking against myself right now. That's all it means. Thinking against myself right now. First, I'm thinking against myself, and then I get an upset feeling, and then I make a perception in the world that justifies the upset feeling, so that I don't have to recognize that back here I have a thought that says I'm limited, small, guilty, shameful. It's all pretty much the same thought. It's the thought of separation. And that's what's making the guilty feeling, that's projecting the guilty illusion. Okay. Yay. Yay. Oh, thank you. Yes. So spirit always guides in love. There's no fear in love. So someone coming up and telling you something that seems like it's really a big deal. Like, for instance, my son came and told me about getting a COVID test. And I said, what? Why did you do that? That just came right out. It's like, what? Why did you do that? And he's like, immediately like, like he did something wrong. And I just go, oh, scratch that. That doesn't mean anything. It's totally okay. It's like anything that we think is dangerous or bad for people, that's something that we made up to attack our own self. So basically what attacking the self is saying, I'm limited and I am being threatened by something in the world. Something in the world can threaten me. It's making cause and effect true, which makes us more susceptible to threats in our dream. So, it's not like you have to be perfect. I'm certainly not perfect at it. It's just that with this awareness of it, you can even rescind something that you just said. Like, my family is a wonderful mirror. They'll reflect to me right away, and my husband and everything, when I'm feeling upset. And that's how I'll know, because they'll look at me like, oh, gosh. It's like, oh, that's coming from me, of course. Okay. Another one is in the world. I know there's a lot going on right now with the COVID restrictions and stuff like that. Lots of people feeling oppressed. Okay. The oppressor is also within. There is no oppressor. There is nothing happening. There is nothing going on in the world or anything. And people say to me, hey, Hope, well, if that's the truth, then that's going to keep you from protecting anything, like say protecting our Constitution or protecting people or anything like that. And it's like, well, these things, they don't need my protection. And on the same token, I'm allowed to move freely. I don't have any rules. I find myself being active on the COVID restriction thing. That's just what I find myself doing. It's not right or wrong, or no one needs to, analyze it and go, oh, is this a spiritual thing or not, or anything like that. You just find yourself going with whatever it is that's inspiring. It's not like you will, you will just go, okay, if it feels like something that's not in alignment to you, just go, okay, yeah, go ahead and give me that shot and tell me I have to be masked up everywhere. I'll just do it all the time, unless that's in alignment for you, or you could say inspiring for you. So everything can move from inspiration, guidance, not making people wrong. See, and that's one thing that I noticed too, like even in my activism, it's easy to talk to people. People want to talk to me, I'm not making them wrong. There's no it's me against you. It's us against them. It's dark against light. It's not like that. It all comes down to anytime I feel threatened, I'm making that up. And anytime I feel like someone can have authority over me, and we get that impression a lot, especially here in Hawaii, because police will just come up to you and go, hey, put on your mask right now. So we get that often. And, it's like the natural or the conditioned way that we've been trained to react to an upset feeling or a trigger is to resist it. I've been on video in some of my activism, and someone will talk really mean to me, and I'll just overlook it because I'm looking for a particular conversation. I'll just overlook it and I'll move on. And my friends will go, hey, well, I was really triggered when I saw that, when I saw that person talk to you like that, and, you didn't even address that thing. I really didn't notice it so much. It wasn't really, it didn't get a charge in me or anything. I just was looking for a particular outcome. And, for me all the time, the particular outcome that I'm looking for is peace. So no matter what the aim is, as far as the agenda of going to a particular place is, I know that the real goal is peace. So there can be an aim to talk with someone about something, and then you get this rah, 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 rah. That's just untruth. So it could just be overlooked and you just go right past it. So we don't have to entangle ourselves in every single little argument that comes up. Someone thinks, oh, you shouldn't be doing this or something like that. We don't have to entangle ourselves with it. We can just move forward. And that means not being afraid of anyone expressing any kind of upset feeling to you, and also not being under any obligation to change what you're doing or change the way that you are expressing yourself because of their upset. And that's also very different from, treating them like they're unimportant. It's not like they are unimportant. For me, when someone really wants to tell me, I had a friend a couple weeks ago sitting right next to me, and she really want to tell me what a screwed up person I am, and fuck you too, and for me, it's like, oh, it's like I feel so grateful because I know this opportunity for healing that's arising right now, and it's like, oh, thank you for letting me know. Oh, let me hear more about that. Do you have more to share on that? And then at the end of it, it's like, I love you. And she said, I love you too. It's just okay. These things that come out, they need to be expressed, and we can hold the space for the expression. It's not like, well, I don't care, because that's just your perception. See, you see the difference there? It's not just their perception, it's they're actually saying something. And every time anyone says anything to you, you can consider it as true in a certain way. It's true because of the reaction that you get in your body's energy field. And anytime you hear anyone saying anything, there is a reaction in your body's energy field. So, and that's because you projected it. That's why it's true. It may not be true on the surface of things, it may not be like someone says, hey, Hope, you're a chicken strangler. I don't know, that just came up. You're a chicken strangler. Okay, I never had the perception of strangling any chickens before. But what they're saying to me is true, because whatever I hear, it's getting a reaction within my body's energy field. And that totally eliminates any need for any defensiveness. There's nothing to defend, because I had them say that to me. So there's nothing to defend. And watch this. If you tend to get caught up in defensiveness, we all do for a time, until it's depth just seen as, you tend to get caught up in defensiveness. Just watch energy. Watch the energy in the body's energy field. It's a great guide. As you could say that the spirit is using this body's energy field kind of like an instrument to show you what you're holding against yourself, so that it could be revealed. So the body's energy field is going to demonstrate to you what it is that you're thinking, what you're feeling, what the gravity of that is. So that's why, in all sincerity, no matter what someone is saying to me, I say, thank you. Thank you for letting me know, because that is a healing opportunity for me, and that's what I'm going to use it for. I don't tell them that may be triggering, but just, hey, thank you for letting me know. I'm really grateful that you told me how you feel. And then if they're interested in hearing about how I feel, great. If not, no problem. It's not necessary. It's not necessary for me to share how I feel. I'm more interested in their reaction to me, because their reaction to me is giving me what I need. It's like we go together, We are so important for each other. We go together. It's kind of like we're holding hands. And by go, I mean we meet our goal of peace. When you set that goal in the mind, okay, peace is the goal. You're going to do everything that's needed to reach that goal. And the same thing, if my goal is something I made up, I call them aims when it's not like something, okay, I'm aiming for this, but I don't really know what I want. So it's not a goal. It's more like an aim, and it could change, okay? But the absolute goal for everything is peace. So when the goal is peace, then the other aims of, why I came here, what I'm doing here, maybe I came here to shop for, I don't know, olive oil, and there's no olive oil in the store. What's the goal? The goal is, the goal is peace. So if I find myself getting irritated or anything like that, all there is watching, noticing, with the goal of peace held in my mind. That's all. So I can't make mistakes, and you can't make mistakes either. You're just watching this whole thing unfold with the thought of truth there as guidance. And over time, you're going to just not be interested in harming yourself that way. These thoughts that seem like they're just benign, like, damn store, they didn't have my olive oil. Well, okay, how are you taking that? Is there irritation? Is there frustration? Anything like that? Because that would be the flag for, right, I forgot the goal was peace. I thought the goal was to get olive oil. And then I thought the goal was to reprimand the store for not having olive oil. See? One thing I like to play with defensiveness is have someone just say something to me. And it occurs. Someone just say something to me. I heard you, I don't know. I heard you were judgmental. I heard you were a really judgmental person. Let's say that. Okay. I heard you were a really judgmental person. Oh, really? Okay. Watch where the ego wants to defend and let that pass. Watch how it is in the body's energy field. It's an intense sensation. There's an intense, fearful sensation. I heard you were at this particular place at this particular time doing this. And the ego goes, no, I wasn't. I was really over here, and I was really doing this, and I was really doing this over here. I don't want them to think badly of me. watch what occurs if you just hold on. Like, just go, take a breath. Someone just said something about you that seems like it's not true. Oh gosh, take a breath and let that energy play. At first, it's super scary because it seems like the ego's life is on the line. And, since you're identified as an ego, and I'm saying myself included, we are. Otherwise, we wouldn't be perceiving ourselves amongst other bodies. So as long as we're identified as an ego, then we think we know what we need and we think we know what we want. So keeping the thought of God in there, the thought that, hey, I don't know what I want, and peace is the only goal. See, so it's like, even with that understanding and practicing for a while on, peace is the only goal, the ego thoughts are still going to crop up. They're still going to play. Okay. And the ego always wants to defend your self-image. See? So that's why I like to talk about defensiveness a lot, because that's something that comes up for people. There's always like trying to defend the self-image. And who cares what another person's perception of you is? I didn't say who cares about the person. It's like that person is coming to you as yourself. They're as yourself. The perception they have of you, it's what's necessary. So there's no need to argue or change their perception of you. That's perfect. Hope, you know what? I think you're a I think you're a cult leader that leads people down the wrong path. Oh, okay. Thank you. See? Or Hope, this is absolutely, wow, you are the best. You are, what you speak is the truth. You are the best. Oh, thank you. It's the same. It's the same. Okay? The only thing that's popping up with the ego is what it doesn't want. Okay? Ego doesn't know what it wants. It knows what it doesn't want. And out of fear of getting what it doesn't want, it thinks it knows what it wants. Okay? So out of fear of total annihilation, that's the ego, fear of annihilation. Out of fear of total annihilation, the ego is making up things that it thinks it wants. It does not know what it wants. Okay? Because once you get to that point, a lot of the times the ego is like, didn't want that. And then there's all this kind of spiritual trickery. It's like spiritual magician stuff going, okay, I'm going to visualize what I want. And I'm going to put it over there. And I'm going to like concentrate on it. And everything like that. That is a distraction. It's fun for a while. I did it for a little bit. It's fun. But it's a distraction. It keeps the mind from recognizing that peace is the only goal. When peace is the only goal, you have no care for how things go. People ask me, like, you have no care for how things go. Don't things go messed up? And it's like, no, they go very nicely, actually. And it always crops up again. Oh, no, what if this goes this way? Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot. I don't give a shit. It can go any way that it goes. Okay, yeah, peace of mind, yes, surpasses all understanding. That's right, that's right. So the ego's always going to go, but what if, like for instance, what if I just allow my kid to play video games all they want? What if they end up being a complete idiot? They grow up to be a complete idiot, and then I look like a complete idiot because I raised a complete idiot. All that talk, it's for healing. In my situation, I went into my room and I sat there with those thoughts and I let the tears come because, in recognizing that's all about me. That's all trying to protect my image. Nothing's going wrong here. And when I stopped holding that in my heart that I was doing something wrong, then me and my child can relate freely. And then when my child got tired of playing video games, he said, I'm done being a gamer. On his own accord, through his own inspiration, not out of guilt, not out of shame, not out of mom thinks I should be getting more sun, but out of their own inspiration. And that's how difference from things that come from yourself that seem to like pop out of your body, and every other person, place, and thing that arises in your perception. They're all equally your children. And your children's life as an individual isn't something that you're really responsible for. There's a very convincing illusion that you're responsible for their life. And you know, the way we've projected it outward for most of us on the face of the planet, we get confirmation that we're responsible for our children's life, you know, by teachers, the court system, neighbors, our parents, everything, that we are responsible. Hey, what are you doing? How are you raising them? Well, that's not really up to me. You know, they're on their own trajectory. They're guided by spirit. I'm not even responsible for feeding them. Although I find myself shopping for them and I find myself cooking for them, knowing that I'm not responsible for feeding them takes a great weight off of the shoulders. Okay, it's not like taking the opposite route. I know a lot of times people hear this and they go, "Oh, I'm just going to go to the opposite. Oh, sorry, kids. I'm just going to neglect you guys now." Love is not neglect. You don't even have to think about something like that. You don't even have to think about, okay, well, if they're guided by spirit, then I don't need to feed them. Well, here's the thing. You don't have a choice in whether you feed them or not. You don't even have a choice in it. You don't have a choice in whether you wake them up for school in the morning, for instance. You don't have a choice. It's conditioning playing out. It's thinking that you have a choice. It's only thinking that you have a choice that puts the pressure on you as if you're supposed to do something. You know, you can be totally detached in your life from all the apparent choices you make between these different things, these different illusions, and all of those things can just play out while you're in a relaxed state of mind. You don't have to take responsibility for it. See? Same thing, same kind of thing comes up when it comes to the food we eat. We have an idea. We've been trained to think that certain food is healthy and other food is unhealthy. That's a direct attack on yourself, because it's saying that one thing in this world of illusion can affect another thing in this world of illusion. Remember, there's nothing here. So the body is an object in the illusion. The food is also an object in the illusion. Do you really think that on a screen of consciousness, one illusion can have an effect on another illusion? Do you really think that? Is that really believable? If you're saying that if you're saying that there's nothing here, you're saying that there's nothing here. Do you really take that as real? And here's the thing. Here's how, you know, you can train your mind to see that nothing can have an effect on your body, including food. And all that comes down to is recognizing in the moment where it comes up. Oh, I'm feeling a little stomach growl, feeling a little hungry. What shall I eat? And then the thoughts come in. Oh, what's good for me? What's bad for me? What's good for me? What's bad for me? Oh, this is guilty food. Oh, this is food that makes me healthy. Watch those thoughts. It doesn't matter what you eat. You don't have to pay attention to that because you don't have a choice in it. You actually don't have a choice in it. You get the perception of yourself eating something and then you make a story about it. That's all. So you get the perception and then you make a story about it. You may get the perception that you ate something and now you have a stomach ache and find yourself blaming it on the food. Okay, I have a stomach ache, must be because I ate that. Looking back in time, which is also an illusion, to find out what you did to make that effect right now. So watch that play. It's like, okay, I'm propping up this illusion right now. Oh, how interesting. I'm propping up this illusion. If you're aware of it, eventually it's not going to be drawing you in anymore. So prop the illusion. And you're going to, in order to see it, you have to be willing to see it. And the willingness comes through the individual experiences of it. So in those moments, we have an opportunity to demonstrate to our own mind that we're open to another interpretation. Say you've been really trained on food combining. You think you know what the best food combinations are to where your body's going to be healthy, and certain food combinations are absolutely wrong. So you find yourself eating the wrong food combination, what you've deemed wrong in your mind, because you actually don't have a choice what you eat. Okay? So you find yourself eating the, quote, wrong food combination, and then the next thing you know, you have indigestion. So great time to practice. You're watching the thoughts that come about this. You're watching the thoughts that come up that say, oh my gosh, what was I thinking? Why did I eat that thing? Just insert a thought of truth. That's bringing this thing to the truth. Insert a thought of truth. There's no time. That's one. Wait a minute. There's no time. That means there's no before. That means I didn't eat anything. How could that be causing a stomach ache right now? It can't. Can't cause a stomach ache right now. So show me what's causing the stomach ache. I know it's a thought against myself. Show me the thought that I thought against myself that made a stomach ache. I'm not buying that it's the food. See, as long as you want to buy into it's the food, for one, you're going to be thinking a lot. It generates a lot of thoughts. Okay, it's a food. Okay, if it's a food, I got to get this right. I got to have better willpower so I don't screw up and eat the wrong thing. You don't have a choice in it. See? So even any kind of diet or anything like that, it can be held very lightly. For me, it's like fun. Like I've gone on liver cleanses before where for 5 days you're barely eating anything. I forgot what it was, but 5 days you're barely eating anything. Just like being very light about it. I feel inspired for eating this way. What fun. I'm not responsible for it. I'm not responsible for making sure that I do it for the whole time and do it perfectly. But what fun that I'm on this kind of thing. Just for play and entertainment. See? And what I find is wow, if I feel motivated to do something like that, it just occurs. Oh, it's not like, oh yeah, I got to be really strong. I have to have a lot of willpower here. No, it's inspired. It's inspiration. And it just occurs. The food definitely caused the stomach ache. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it seems like it does. It's like you just ate something and all of a sudden it did. And you could have a kid who doesn't know anything about nutrition at all. They know nothing about nutrition. You got a kid and then they just ate a bunch of Hershey's chocolate or something, and then they're telling you that they have a stomach ache. So the ego's like, yeah, see, cause and effect. It's really true. But they're just doing that for you. They're just doing that for you. So you can either make that thought true, because the ego's going, see what I told you, cause and effect. You can either make that thought true or you can laugh at it. The only proof that the thought is true is the illusion. That proves nothing. All the illusion does is demonstrate what you already think to be true, which is that you're limited. So the proof you're getting from the illusion is nonsense in the first place. And you'll start to see the proof go the other way. Like in my case, I had that one where it was food combining, and I noticed I felt a little bit upset. I felt kind of abandoned, you know. I was like feeling kind of abandoned. And I just went to the fridge and I start eating random stuff. Like, oh, a couple minutes later, stomach ache. And I go, oh, uh-huh. You know, because I had been clued into this already. And I go, oh, yeah. And there's all this guilt about having, you know, just in mindlessly going stuff and eating mindlessly, and, you know, just taking those thoughts and not making them real. That doesn't mean resisting them like, no, I don't want them. It's more like laughter. It's more like, oh, how cute. It's as if there really is a past. It's as if I can have a negative effect on my body by something that I choose to do in the world. I'm not even making those choices. It's like a screen. So in my experience, it was like that upset stomach thing was just instantly gone. There was nothing to hold it anymore. There was nothing there to hold it. There was not the guilty thought that I ate something before. And, you know, if you're working with something like this and anything, you know, it might not show itself as, okay, gone right away. Stay on it. Stay on it. You'll start to see, because the body is only a projection of the mind. And as the mind realizes that it's not capable of harm, the mind realizes it's not capable of harm, you're not going to perceive any harm anywhere. So the trajectory is just teaching the mind that there's no threat. Because there's no world, there's no threat. It's just me interpreting energy, making believe, upholding the thought that I separated myself from the creator. Wow, ego mind is out of control here. Oh yeah, exactly. And I'm giving you guys practical life examples so that you see all the different ways the ego presents itself. Yes, guilty of the apparent separation. And, you know, guilt demands punishment. So we made ourselves into something that needs punishment. And that's why we perceive punishment in all these different forms all the time. And when we perceive punishment, it's a time for joy. It's a time for celebration. Because in perceiving anything that's punishing, that's also our opportunity to resolve the root of it. See? I'm like, oh, thank you. Any kind of malady or on the body or tiredness or anything like that. Oh, thank you. I'm learning. You could say as an ego mind, I don't want this. I don't want to know this stuff. And I just want a cure right now for this thing. Like, say I've got a sunburn. Let's go with sunburn since I'm in Hawaii. Say I found myself with a sunburn. And for the ego, it's like, I just want to, number one, I want to learn from my mistake, right? I want to learn from my mistake. I want to get rid of the sunburn right now. And I want to make sure that I have safeguards in place so that this does not happen again. That's one of the ways we keep ourselves occupied with a bunch of thought. The idea that we can make mistakes or learn from our mistakes. That's not the kind of learning I'm talking about. That's not the kind of learning. The only learning that's needed here is learning that restores sanity to the mind that thought it separated itself and made itself guilty and deserving of punishment. Okay? So the idea that we need to learn from our mistakes in the world, that actually perpetuates mistakes. It keeps it going. If you get good at one thing, you're going to find yourself being mistaken and bad in another thing. So the whole worthiness, the whole use of mistakes, of the perceiving mistakes, is for seeing through them. Any mistake that you perceive is kind of like an echo of the mistake you thought you made when you thought you separated yourself from reality. And really the only mistake that you did make was thinking that you did separate yourself from reality, believing in that thought. See, because when you first thought, oh shit, I separated myself from reality, you forgot to laugh. Instead, you took it as real. That was the mistake. That was the only mistake. All of the other mistakes that you perceive yourself making on the surface is like a reflection of that mistake. It's like to distract you, to keep you distracted from seeing what the real mistake was. You can have these perceptions of mistakes. Okay? So the way to work with that is not to resist. There's a feeling that comes along with the perception that you've made a mistake. There's a feeling that comes with that. Someone might be telling you, hey, you messed this up. Someone might even be telling you, you made a mistake on this thing. And, so in not resisting the feeling, there's openness to even hearing whatever anyone else is saying. It's not like, oh no, don't tell me I made a mistake. I don't want to hear that. It's like, you can hear it and be playful with it. And, if someone seems like they're harmed from the mistake, get that feeling in your body's energy field, because getting that feeling and allowing that feeling to be expressed, that's compassion. And when you allow compassion for yourself, the compassion is automatically extended. So the other person is going to be able to perceive you being caring and compassionate with them. See? You may also run across a person, because you put them there like that, where they're going, you know what? I just don't want to be around you anymore because you're just a terrible person. And, you're feeling all this compassion. They're going, I think you're just a terrible person. And you're just feeling all this compassion being extended. It's just like, oh, okay. Don't let that dissuade you from still allowing the compassion to come in through your body's energy field, because they will come around. That is like a gift that's held in the mind for them whenever they're ready to receive it. Sometimes just hearing the truth or being as close to the truth where it could break down the ego, a lot of defensiveness comes up for people. Sometimes that's the case. And it's like, well, I'm certainly not your authority. I'm just going along doing my own thing. I'm just going along playing my own patterns out and seeing through them and learning and growing and loving. That's not something that necessarily needs to be communicated, but it's okay if you want to have that kind of perception of me. It's okay with me. And the way that's expressed a lot of times for me is just like, oh, thank you for letting me know. And, if someone thinks I've harmed them, I've had one where a person came up to me and thought that my daughter had, treated them unfairly. And I listen and listen and listen. And he talked for probably about 15 minutes about how messed up it was and how he felt and everything like that. And once he was done talking, I said, okay, wow, thank you for letting me know all of that. Is there anything I can do to support you? And he said, no, I just really wanted to be heard. So thank you. That's like the main thing for people. Oftentimes they just really want to be heard. And that's like the most beautiful gift you can give them, is to just listen and watch when the arguments and defensiveness arises in your mind to try to explain or justify or anything like that. Watch when those arise in the mind and just let them pass. Watch the feelings and let them pass. And this is true communication. This is how we truly communicate. It's like not pushing away, not trying to defend, not making the other person wrong. It's really listening and offering gratitude too. And that's within. It's not really in the words. Remember, you don't have a choice in what you say. You don't have a choice in how you come across to another person. See? So here's where it comes in, giving spirit responsibility for your life. If you're constantly looking at the goal, which is peace, then you're open for communication instead of being open for projecting ego judgments back and forth. In that communication, there can be union. And when we're all unified, that's when this world that we perceive disappears. It actually, it's like it disintegrates and reveals what's really here. And that's only a matter of time. Our success is guaranteed. That's our time. So we can relax. We can relax. And you know, it's like, okay, it's urgent and it's guaranteed. It's kind of like meeting in the middle right now. It's urgent in that in this moment, if I choose illusion over the truth, I'm lengthening the amount of time it takes for the ultimate awakening to occur. I'm lengthening it out. I'm attacking myself. I'm attacking my friends. Not that it's right or wrong, but eventually we get sick of it. And we want to see the real world again. We want the mind restored to sanity more than anything else, more than pursuing illusions, more than propping ourselves up, more than feeding a particular habit, okay? That we want that. When we want that more than anything, then we're really on the fast track. And we're also, it's like we're helping all of our friends too. And we're all friends because we're all one. So we're like beyond friends. So those that seem like they're fearful and seem like, oh, they're never gonna get it. That's also a reflection, and it's a demonstration of the secret thought that says, you know what? You're never gonna get it. If there's a secret thought, the ego's thought, you're never gonna get it. You might as well just give it up. See? So that's what we're projecting whenever we see someone where the way they act or the way they express themselves seems like they're never going to get it. We're talking about ourselves. We're thinking about ourselves again. So let that be very light. Oh, it seems like they're not going to get it. Ha, okay. Yeah, of course, the ego thinks I'm not going to get it. Because as long as the ego can keep me in buying into that it's a lost cause, then time will continue and the ego's life will continue. The ego is very protective over its life. And since we're identified as an ego, we become protective over our own lives, which needs no protection. Our lives do not need protection. The spirit is responsible for our lives even when we don't know it. The thing is, when we're not willing to give responsibility for our lives over to the spirit, we have a lot more misperceptions. We have a lot more confusion. Okay? We have a lot more conflict and more upset stomachs even. Okay. Oh, these messages that you guys are doing. Okay, I can't see them all, just the really recent ones. Our true self joy underneath or the ground of being. Yes, that's right. So any kind of upset feeling, what makes us want to run in thought to try to make ourselves feel better is resistance to that feeling. It's like the surface layer of it. Say it's guilt or shame or fear or punishment or anything like that. It's like, oh no, I don't want that. That's the ego's reaction. Oh no, I don't want that. I got to find a way to get around that. And that always includes a bunch of thinking. See, if there's willingness for silence to occur, it's almost like you dive beneath that surface layer that seems so fearful. And you're like, bliss. There's bliss under here. What did I have to be afraid of? Any of these upset feelings. Oh, someone wants to come over and yell at me. Oh, great. Because I love to get underneath that feeling like there's something wrong, like I'm a little girl and I did something wrong. It's so fun and funny. Okay? Sometimes the ego will have me like, oh, they said that about me? And then it's like, oh yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And that's a big reason why a lot of people are afraid to get out in the public, because once you get out in the public, you get both sides. Oh, I love you. Oh, I can't stand you. Oh, I love you. Oh, I can't stand you. And I get out in the public a lot. doing all kinds of wisdom dialogues plus some activism type stuff, you know. I find myself out in the public a lot. Yesterday I was going door to door to stores. About 50% of them were like, I am so glad you're here. Oh my gosh. And the other 50%, it was funny because there was no one that was like really neutral about it. The other 50% is like, get out of here and don't come back here again. And for me, it's the same. Like, oh, okay, thank you. Aloha, everyone. That's what I'm here to get. Thank you so much. It's all healing. It's all for healing. And you know what came up last night in Wisdom Dialogues? Someone said, what is healing? Well, I could say my favorite quote about healing comes from A Course in Miracles. And it's it's funny because on the spot, a lot of the times I forget it. And then all of a sudden later it'll come back to me like, oh. Okay, so healing is it's not, the word is not acknowledgement, but it's something like that. Healing is the acknowledgement that you dream a dream and none of its content is true. That's all it is. It's like you recognize in the moment. Maybe you're in a conversation and things are seeming really real. Maybe you're on the phone with tech support. You've been on the hold for an hour. And things are seeming really real right now. When you're willing to see it differently, then it'll be shown to you that you dream a dream and nothing you thought was real was real. And here's the thing, this is all being registered in the body's energy field. So this is something that you can sense. You can totally sense it. There's a heaviness, and then when the miracle takes place, there's a lightness. So you can have miracles all day long. You can have miracles every moment. It's like every single moment is an opportunity for this miracle of healing, and that's that recognition within this that I'm dreaming a dream and none of this is real. You know, if you're recognizing that, it's so light and it's so comforting and it's so much bliss. It changes the way you feel, the way you feel as if you're in a body. And notice I say as if you're in a body, because there's no one in a body. Bodies are like holograms that are projected from the mind. You know, if you cut it open, you're not going to find yourself in there amongst the blood and stuff like that. Oh, yay. Oh, thank you. Yes, yes. Mirror, mirror, right. Show me what it is that I need to see. And let me not try to run away as if I can fix something by running away from it. The only way anything's going to be taken care of is with gentleness. Okay? And that includes any kind of ego thoughts, the kind that play over and over again. Oh my gosh, why are you so, I don't know, why are you so addicted? That's one of them. Why are you so addicted to thought? There's a thought that says, why are you so addicted to thought? You know, there's no why. There's no need to answer any questions. Just watch the addiction. And that's the only addiction there is. Know that. That's the only addiction to thought. You know, a friend asked me, well, what about, you know, this addiction? And I could smell alcohol in her breath. So I could tell she'd been drinking alcohol. And you're like, what about this addiction, like this alcohol thing? I feel like I need to drink it all the time. And I said, well, what is the purpose of this life? What is the purpose of the life? And she's like, well, I don't know. And I go, well, take the purpose of the life is peace. Let's say the purpose of the life is peace. Is there any peace in making yourself as if you're responsible for what you drink or how much you drink? Is there any peace in that? No, I've been battling with this for years. It's been a battle, this addiction. Right. So who cares if you're demonstrating an addictive quality on the surface? Who's caring about that? because that's what's perpetuating it. That's what's perpetuating you having the illusion of you doing things that you don't want to do. Oh, I hate this fucking alcohol drinking while I'm drinking it. I hate this. Like that. That comes from addiction to thought. That's all. And the more you try to fight it, the more you find yourself doing things that you think you actually don't want to do. That's the mind's conflict. So it's like, let that play out. Let that play out. If it happens to be, okay, I really don't like this, but I keep on doing it. Watch it. Gentleness. The ego is going to come and take this all this time to work. Gentle. That thought that arises, it's to get you irritated, it's to get you upset. Be gentle with those reactions. Those reactions watch how your body's reacting to all these different thoughts that come up about you being this addict. You're not. The only addiction is addiction to thought, and we've all got it. We've all got that bug. If we didn't, we wouldn't perceive this world. So if that's the only addiction I need to work through, then I can sit there with the alcohol because I don't have a choice. I don't have a choice in it, knowing that. I could sit there with the alcohol and I can allow all kinds of healing to occur while I'm drinking the alcohol. There isn't any alcohol. The world is not real. See? Use it. Use the perception for healing the root of it. And when you use it like that, you're going to find yourself doing things that you enjoy instead of doing things that you feel like, I really don't want to do this. And the same thing with your relationships. Okay? There's this drive to go toward relationships that don't work for people. Okay? You could say they all work because they're all for one thing. And at the same time, we tend to seek out abuse. Some of us, not all of us. But we seek out abuse in romantic relationships, in friendships, in business relationships, we tend to seek out abuse. And we keep on seeking that out as long as we blame the abuser. As long as we want to blame the abuser, then we're going to have more abuse. So when you perceive abuse, like say you got someone that you're living with that is verbally abusive with you. They're saying, you're a loser, you're a fat ass, whatever. Some people like that. I'm saying if you don't like it and you're feeling like you don't like it, gratitude. That's what it is. It's gratitude. That's what's needed here. You know what? You're a complete freaking loser. Thank you, brother. Thank you. And paying attention to how that plays out, how I'm intent on attacking myself. Don't make it about the other person. I know we tend to make it about the other person, but even if you have the perception of it coming out of your mouth, where you're saying, you know what? You are always abusing me. You are so abusive. You can take that back. Never mind. That wasn't about you. That was about me. I'm the abuser. I made you into that. And what people are afraid of, again, it's just like the food or anything else. If I see it that way, then I'm just going to stay in an abusive situation until the person freaking kills me. Probably not. Because with gratitude, when you're allowing gratitude for yourself, you're automatically being motivated. You're watching a picture of yourself. So you're automatically being drawn to, and I like to say drawn to because it's more picturesque. You're being drawn to those who treat you as the worthiness that you've come to know about yourself. See? You're automatically drawn to business relationships, personal, romantic, everything like that. You're automatically drawn to that which reflects the amount of worthiness you've allowed for yourself. So when you have the perception of an abusive relationship and you've been drawn into an abusive relationship, don't get discouraged about that. It's good. Because that's the opportunity to undo the underlying misbelief about yourself. So you can always be super thankful for whatever it is that anyone is offering to you. And even the kind of relationship where you get physically punched, let's say something like that. Again, it comes to nothing's happening. Oh, thank you. Does that mean you're not going to leave? Actually, you have a way better chance of leaving and not being drawn into another similar relationship again with gratitude. So say someone clocks you in the jaw. Oh, thank you. It's waking me up. Thank you. Thank you. It's waking me up. How can you talk lazy? You're setting yourself up. You're like being, not because nothing happens and nothing can even, I can't even dream it up. I can't even dream of myself getting punched unless I need to. Okay. So I'm not afraid of saying something like that. It's like, yeah, you're free. Go ahead and do whatever it is that you need to do. Because I know we can't be drawn into situations together unless that's necessary. And with gratitude and with using every opportunity I can for spirit, for awakening, for healing, then I know I'm also 100% protected. Okay. So hooray, everyone. I don't know how long I was supposed to have. I never asked. And then I came up by an hour and I was like, oh, I wonder.
No, it's fine. I wanted to chime in at an hour. Thank you for that. That was great. There are so many, I have a question for you here in a second, but there's so many things that I like what you said. I love the goal is peace. It just makes so much sense. And I think that everyone actually is looking for peace.
Oh yeah.
All the seeking. It's that we think that it's done in stuff and events and relationships, and then you get there, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, and the ego goes, no, by the way, that wasn't it. Moves the goalpost and changes it. Have you seen the movie Soul?
I don't think I have.
Okay. Well, I don't want to give anything away, but there's a inflection point in the movie that's similar to that. So I have a question for you. There are you have in one of your blog posts. How does the spirit voice start to grow on us? When we are willing to listen to it, that's where it starts. So how would you share that sort of anyone that's watching or listening and saying, okay, yes, I'm willing. What do I do now? What I don't know if it's tips or advice or what sort of comments do you have for someone that's looking for that now what instruction when they read something like that and they're like, okay, I'm on board. There's light seeking and then there's just straight up suffering. Like, please, help me. So I'm curious as to your response to that.
Yeah, well, for one, the mind needs to be reconditioned. We have to have a reconditioning because our mind's been conditioned already to perceive in separation. So what I suggest to people, if they feel motivated in that way, is to keep listening to whatever it is that resonates for you. Some people listen to me. I have a lot of videos on YouTube. It's all free. And, each one of them, I probably talk for a couple of hours or thereabouts. And, some of my friends just keep on going back and listening to wisdom dialogues again and again because they like it, and it resonates for them. It might be another teacher or person or anything like that. There's Muji, I love A Course in Miracles. I don't know if that's for everyone. I definitely get the gist. It's not for everyone. But it's a 1-year course where you go through and each day you're given a certain thought to focus on for that day. And it's kind of like, it's really small and simple, but you're being miracle minded. Okay. In this way. So whenever you feel upset, whenever you feel any kind of disconnect or anything like that, you take this thought for the day and interject it. And in that interjecting, it's reconditioning your mind. So however that works for you, there's absolutely so many different ways to approach this. It has to be off of inspiration, though. It never needs to be some kind of an effort where you're forcing yourself into something. All that does is make it take longer. So always make it so that it's fun and inspiring for you. And if you don't feel like looking at anything spiritual, or, go with that too. The main thing is satiation, also known as surrender. So the main thing is, can I just relax a little bit more? And you always can relax a little bit more than you are right now. That's the promise of the Spirit. And when you're willing to relax, then the Spirit's going to show you how to relax. So that's all. That's all. Just keep it really light. Just if you're just hearing this right now, if you're hearing this and you're like, yes, I'm willing, I want to be willing, that's enough. That's enough. And then the consciousness is playing out all on its own. You're not making any decisions, remember? You're not making any decisions. Your only choice you're making is the choice whether to make illusions true or to accept healing instead. That's the only choice you're making. So when you're making a choice in your mind right now, when you hear this being spoken, say, I'm willing, I want to know that piece. There is a choice for truth right there. It's very powerful. The thing is, the conditioning comes back in again. So when you start to feel upset, remember that choice for truth. That's all. And that's the only choice you can make. You cannot make any choices in an illusory world where it's full of nothing, right? So the only choice you can make is between making this world real or undoing it, and the choice becomes really simple. And over time, willingness automatically expands, and automatically, that's why I say your success is guaranteed. And the more you know that your success is guaranteed, the quicker it goes. Okay, so relaxation.
That's awesome. Thank you. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. So another thing, you and I talked about this a little bit, and I think you touched upon this, but you wrote a book about being a parent, raising kids. I'll let you plug it here at the end. And I think that we see, especially in talking about some of these things, that being a parent, and it's funny because relationship questions are some of the most popular, like, okay, I get this and my partner doesn't, what do I do? Those kinds of things. And then you add a little element of complexity when it comes to raising children. I guess I'll start with the kids, the kids part of it. In terms of your awakening, we'll just call, and I always use air quotes, your awakening and things, was that before children, in the middle of raising them? I know you still have, you have 3. Tell us a little bit more about that and how that sort of transition in going from that I'm in charge of this person's life to really the absolute freedom that that's not the case.
It was amazing. My oldest kid is 28 right now, and my youngest one is 12. Then I have a 19-year-old too. So it was right in the middle of it all. It was so amazing because it went all the way up until my daughter was 17. And, I really thought that I was responsible for her life. I had so much weight on my shoulders. She just wasn't performing in the way that I thought she should to have a good life. And I was really worried. It's so sweet when you see this too with parents that are just really worried. And, I feel that for myself. I was really worried that I wasn't doing it right. And I was trying my best. I was trying really hard. In fact, I even spent a lot of money. I used to pay like $1,600 a month, I think it was, to send her to high school. And then I would hover over her to make sure she was doing her work, because I was so afraid that she was going to end up not being able to support herself or being in an abusive relationship or something like that. It all comes from good intentions. See, it all comes from good intentions. That's everyone. And so then she ended up going to military school because I was like, oh my gosh, I'm just failing. So here you go, you guys do it. She ended up going to military school and come back from military school, and she's 17 years old at the time. My youngest one was, or my next one down was, let's see, the next one down was, big difference in years there. I don't calculate it right now, but I think it was 7. Yeah, they're like 9 or 10 years apart. Youngest one was 7, and my daughter come back from military school, and now she's telling me she's pregnant. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, did I just freak out. I was so stressed. I said, you're pregnant? You're keeping it? You're on restriction. You're still 17. You're on restriction. So I went through all of that, and then at the end she said she had a miscarriage, and I was like, as soon as she said she had a miscarriage, all of a sudden I got all this relief. I was like, and then I go, what is that? That was like an awakening for me right there. What is that I can get so wrapped up? Oh, hold on just a second. I didn't realize this was so long. I got to get something to charge this thing.
Oh, really? Sure. To everyone with us, thank you so much. This has been awesome having Hope on. If you have any questions before we wrap up, we'll have her talk about some things she has coming up. But go ahead and send them into the chat. And if you have not, you can visit nothing.fm. We have a newsletter you can sign up to get notifications for more of these. And there's also events that we have happening, like virtual retreats and things like that. So, all right.
We're safe.
Sweet. Yeah, we got power. All right. I'll let you continue.
So, yes, the stories are so fun. Thank you. So I realized, wow, I just got so wrapped up in that. And it's like that thing just had control over me. Then I got this relief when it stopped. But when's the next time something's going to get me all wrapped up like that again? You know, that was a huge one for me. I was like, what? Why do I have to take everything so hard? And that was really where the transition started right there. That was well, she's 28 right now, so it's like 11 years ago. I had a 7-year-old at the time and a baby. So the 7-year-old was telling me, I don't want to go to school. And I'm like, oh boy, I've already been through this, making a person go to school all the time. I'm not doing that again. I'm not going to do that again. So I started to look for ways, well, what can be done? Because I thought sending your kid to school is the law. Well, apparently it is, but there are some loopholes around that too. So I started looking into it, and I found this thing called Unschooling. Because first I went to a homeschooling group, and the homeschooling group was like, oh yeah, we got all this curriculum, and here's what you do. And I was like, ah, man, I don't want to be anyone's teacher. And my son's like, yeah, I don't want you to be my teacher either. That sounds like it sucks. So then we hear about unschooling. We're both like, unschooling, what is that? Oh, you have no curriculum. Oh, your kid just does whatever they want. Oh, it's illegal. So anyways, I'm embracing this thing, this unschooling thing. The first thing my son starts doing is playing video games. He's 7 years old. He's playing video games all day long. I have a mentor, someone whose kids were in college by that time, unschooled the whole time. So a mentor, and I'm like, I'm freaking out. He's over there just playing a bunch of video games. And she said, what's your problem with that? And I was like, all these thoughts are coming up. And I'm like, I can't really speak any of them because they're nonsense. It's all fear. It's just all fear. It's all fear. I'm afraid. And so she's just like, hey, you have nothing to be afraid of. He is a creative being. He's going to play video games for as long as he needs to play video games. Then he's going to move on to something else. Unless you're over there making it into a big problem, then he might use the video games as a way to deal with shame. See? And I'm like, oh, I don't want him to use them like that. If he's playing video games, I want him to have fun while he's playing video games. So that's where it started. And then I realized, whoa, he can do whatever he wants. Okay, so that means I'm free too. And that's why my book is called Unschooling for Parents, because it's for the parent to see that you are a creative being and there's not anything that you have to learn here. It's not anything you have to learn about the world. I know I talked about learning in a different sense before. There's nothing that you have to learn about the world. You can learn things. You can find yourself learning things. It's all meaningless. And through inspiration, you might find yourself learning things. So, you know, this went on and brought up a lot of pain. It lasted for some. It wasn't just like, okay, oh yeah, I got it. Oh, the mentor said, okay, just let him play video games. Everything's going to be okay. No, it took years. It literally took years. And it wasn't until I think it maybe took about 5 years. I know that could sound like a long time, but here's the thing. I've already gone through it and also wrote a book about it. When people approach this, when they're willing to, it's going to take shorter and shorter because our mind is one. See, you don't even have to have ever met me or anything like that. Because our mind is one, it's like the more people are willing to go through it and come out the other side of it, the more accessible it is and the less time it might take. And those 5 years seem to drag on really long because there was intense suffering. I kept on getting a vision of my son growing up to be a complete loser. I mean, I would like visualize this stuff where he's like in a basement eating Cheetos, all out of shape and white eyeballs bugging out because of me, because of something that I did. I didn't protect him from that fate. See? So that was some intense suffering for me. I had to go and sit and cry about it because I was attacking myself and try as best I can to keep that stuff away from him. Of course, it did, show up because our mind isn't separate. So even if I'm taking anything as any kind of possibility of a threat, he feels that. We feel each other and react to each other all the time, constantly reacting to each other. Okay. So I start to recognize his reactions to me and realize how important that is, rather than what I'm thinking, what I think is right and how it should go. I'm starting to notice his reactions to me. And it's like, oh, that's cluing me in to the underlying thought that's making him react to me in that way, like afraid or concerned that I might be holding something against him. You think I'm really lazy, don't you, Mom? You think I'm taking too much time on the video games, don't you, Mom? See? And it's like, well, that thought did cross my mind, but I'm not believing it. I only love you and I support you. So I started to become very supportive. And it's like, oh, I noticed that you're playing this video game and your power cord is not working or something like that, maybe I can help you out and get you another one. Or they're saying it would be really nice if I had this kind of speed. Okay, well, let's help you out. Let's get you that speed. Let's let them play it out. Let's let them play that whole thing out. I had my daughter come to me, and she's in her late 20s at the time, and she's like, Mom, I'm doing cocaine all the time, doing it all the time. I'm like, okay, no, this is really a problem, Mom. It's a real problem. Look, you gotta check this out. Put your finger up my nose right now, and you'll see there's a hole in there. And I go, and at first I was like, I don't want to stick my finger up, She's like, come on. I'm like, okay. So I stuck my finger up her nose. I'm like, okay. And she's like looking at me for a reaction. And I'm like, okay, you're okay. And she's like, are you sure? Are you sure I'm okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm 100% sure that you're okay. And, at some point she was like, oh, I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to do it anymore. At some point And it was funny because, you know, a lot of people were so worried about her. They were like, they would come up to me and they'd go, your daughter, oh my God, because she just like changed so much. She went on this journey and just changed so much. And I was like, it's okay. She's just kidding. I don't have to take that for real. And, you know, she was so grateful too at the end of it. Thank goodness you didn't take it seriously, because that was like the hardest part, is people being worried about me. You know, people expressing this worry. It's like, can't a chick just have a drug ear? Without a bunch of people being worried about her. So, to transition, you could see this is her. I just freaked out because she was when she was 17. Totally was like on the verge to, you know, it's like, no, it's totally okay. And you know, she at one point she goes, Mom, everything is not always okay. And I go, that's okay. And then she laughed. That's okay too. Yeah, you're okay. There is love. That is all we need to hear. We don't need to hear about how we need to quit doing the cocaine, because you never had a choice in it. And when you hear how, you know, you need to make this choice, all that's doing is attacking the body. It's making the body into something that's real and setting it up to be threatened and to be punished. So why would we? It's okay. Yes, it's okay that you made that hole in your nose. It's okay that you've been sticking cocaine up your ass. It's totally good. And it's funny how it just passes so fast, and it's like, oh yeah, it was like 1 year, and it just passes so fast, and it's just like, oh yeah, all the way back to, oh, I'm so glad that I had that experience. I wouldn't trade it for anything. I learned so much through that experience. You know, that's what my daughter is saying. It's like, it's not like resistance, like, you know, the 12-step program, this addiction thing. She didn't go to any program. She didn't need a program. The program played itself out. So that was, you know, you take it as whatever you find yourself doing. Like for me, whatever I find myself doing, that's my medicine right now. It doesn't matter what it is. That's medicine. And I don't have a choice in it. So, and we also extend that to other people. It's healing, because our only addiction is thought, and the addiction to thought comes out of guilt. So if we're feeling guilty, and anything that says we can make choices in this world is a guilty thought, because that means you can make the wrong choice, and you can't.
Thank you for sharing that. So Hope, I'm going to actually post I'm going to post the link, and I'm going to put your post that in the chat, and then I'm going to put your website back up on so people can see that. So other than going to hopejohnson.org, what anything you want to tell us about that you have upcoming? I mean, you've got that book, and there's other things that you offer. Should everybody just go to the website? Is there anything you want to tell us about in terms of getting in touch with you?
I don't have everything on my website. I do have Wisdom Dialogues that started up again last week. I do it on Thursday nights at 5 o'clock in Hawaiian Paradise Park in Hawaii. At some point, I'll know where the recordings are for that. I know people are making recordings, and be able to share that with you. So sign up for my newsletter when you go onto my website, because that's where I'll be able to share stuff like that with you. And then if you go to YouTube, you can watch my older videos from 4 years. 4 years of Wisdom Dialogues are on there. It's all free, and it's Hope Johnson Mystic. That's why you just search that up. You should be able to find it. Also, I have the best essential oils in the world. Our company is called Miracle Botanicals. It's miraclebotanicals.com. And the reason we have the best essential oils in the world is because we love them. So we find the we find the best. We just sample around and we get the most awesome stuff, rare stuff, exotic stuff that you're not going to find anywhere. We got them. And what else? Oh, Coveted Dialogues. So anyone who's interested in having dialogue with me around the whole COVID thing, which is a thing for people and not for others, so I keep it kind of separate. It's called Coveted Dialogues, and that's every Saturday at 10 a.m. Hawaii time. Where will you get that link? Well, you would have to email me. So if you want the link to Coveted Dialogues, just let me know. You can email me, hopejohnson@me.com.
Perfect. And if you to the event page as well, so people have easy access to it. That works for you.
Email address? Okay, yeah. Email me about. Yay. They are the best.
Okay.
You. I love you.
Perfect. Well, Hope, thank you so much for being with us today. We really appreciate your time and for sharing all that with you. And I'm hoping we can have you back on sometime in the future.
Sure. Just let me know. I'm open.
Okay. All right. Take care. We're going to shut the stream down now.
Okay. Aloha. Ahui ho.